Hi everyone and welcome back. In this video I'm going to be showing you a couple of textbook examples that involve variables on both sides and decimals. So the first one that I was requested to go through was number 9b. So here's what the question looks like. Okay, so first thing, anytime you see you have variable terms on both sides, you're not going to be able to get that c alone until you group them all together. Okay, and you have flexibility which one you want to move over. So to move this one over, the opposite of positive 15.3c would be to subtract 15.3c. So then I would also have to subtract 15.3c here, which means that I'm going to be working with negatives, right? Which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But personally, I'd rather just keep it simple and work with positives instead, because the opposite of minus 16.2c would be plus 16.2c. So those opposites cancel out to 0, that's gone. But then I have to do the exact same thing to the other side, so I go plus 16.2c. And now you see I have simple addition instead of trying to add negatives. So 3 plus 2 is 5, 5 plus 6 is 11, 31.5c plus 4.3 equals 16.9, because that whole term is gone. I moved it over. So now you see I've just got a regular two-step equation. So now I'll proceed with that. Okay, so starting with my constant, cancel that out first. So opposite of adding 4.3 would be to subtract 4.3. So then that leaves me with 0 there, it's gone. But of course I must do the same thing to the other side, so minus 4.3. 9 minus 3 gives me 6. 6 minus 4 gives me 2. 1 minus nothing. So on the right side of my equal sign I'm left with 12.6. On the left side that constant is gone, so I'm left with this variable term 31.5c. Okay, last step to getting c alone, getting a single c, is to cancel out this numerical coefficient, divide it so it goes to 1. So opposite of multiplying c by 31.5 would be to divide it by 31.5. 31.5 divided by 31.5 gives me just 1c. That's what I want. But then I must do the same thing to the other side. Divide by 31.5. So finally, I go 12.6 divided by 31.5 equals 0.4. Box it up. Final answer. Okay, so second one that I was requested to go through that has decimals and variables on both sides is number 12a. So let's take a look at that one now. So 12a looks like this. We've got 1.2c minus 7.4 equals 3.4c. Okay, so again, variables on both sides. First thing I need to do is group those variable terms together. Okay, in this case we've got two terms on the left side, one term on the right side. So I'm actually just going to move this one over from the left side to the right. Okay, it's not impossible to move this one over. Basically what you would end up with is on the right side you'd end up with 0, and you can still solve your equation that way, but then you will have a two-step equation. Whereas if we move this over, then we actually end up with just a one-step equation. So opposite of positive 1.2c would be minus 1.2c. So then that is gone. But then I have to do it over here, minus 1.2c. 4 minus 2 is 2. Decimal down, 3 minus 1 is 2. So I'm left with 2.2c on the right side. And this is where you have to be careful. So I'm sure whoever requested this question, this is probably where you went wrong. So yes, we canceled out this variable term, that's gone, but we have not done anything to cancel out this subtraction sign. So what that means is that you must treat it as a negative. So this is actually negative 7.4 on the left side. So this very commonly happens. I see students do this all the time. They have that subtraction sign there and they just drop it. Okay, you must treat remaining subtraction signs as negatives. Okay, that's true for the entire unit. Always true. So be careful to watch for those subtraction signs. Okay, so now we've got a single step equation. There's only one step we need to do to get this C alone, and that is to divide 2.2 by itself in order to be left with just C. But then of course I must do the same thing to the other side. So I go negative 7.4 divided by 2.2, and I end up with negative, and you can see I've got a repeating decimal here, so I'm just going to write it negative 3.36, and it's both the 3 and the 6 that repeat, so I can do the bar notation over the 3 and the 6 to show that, and then box it up. Final answer. Alright, that's it for this video. See you in the next one.